What else should you do? Maybe I will put, I'm going to put a set of trees back here. Just using some green, yellow, warm green. And then I'm going to start coming in here. A little tree that breaks the top of that horizon line just a little bit. And then to balance out my composition, I have these over here, and it kind of bolts back over here, and then I'm going to have it go over here. It's kind of, I mean, as long as you're working from a photograph, you're going to be able, your composition should be set. Most photographs that make it to the internet or in a magazine typically have a pretty good composition, so I'm leaving that part to the greater good. And then I'm going to go with some light in here as a focus point. This light in here is a focus point. Just a bit of magenta perhaps, just to sort of add an undertone. I have no idea what I'm painting, by the way, so we'll see how this comes out. You get the point though, right? Now that I have my purple back in there the way I wanted it before, I'll go ahead and put my trees in. Now my purple that I've set down is complementary to my yellow that I have in these trees, which is going to make them pop. That is the complementary color scheme, right? That's kind of what it's good at. That's what its thing is, right? Makes things vibrate. So for this tree over here, I'm just gonna go here. And then with this red, it's also complementary because red and green sit right across from each other on the color wheel. So those two are also complementary color tones, right? So now what I have here is sort of, you mean call it what you will, but a landscape obviously. And that's kind of how I would begin a landscape, working from the background, midground, and then this foreground. This foreground is something that gets developed to last. It's not something you want to focus on super hard to start with, right? And from there, I'm going to go ahead and add some blackish purple up in the sky to describe some dark clouds to start with. These aren't going to stay super dark. You always start with your darks first, even in clouds. That way your light has something to sort of push off against. Light strokes all by themselves don't have much of a chance, right? They just sort of get lost. So it's always best to start with darks because your darks are what supports your light systems. So we have that, and then what we're going to do is we're going to take some much brighter tones and see what it does. Kind of have a fiery sunset here. Kind of have some stuff happening on the horizon line. And then I'm going to put a little point of focus right here. we have a nice little kind of sunset scene going on. And this is kind of a fun thing to do at some point. I know I rag on people who put lines on their work, but putting lines in something like this for me is super satisfying. I just love lines, okay? So say this tree, right? What if we had like a dramatic branch coming up, breaking the horizon a little bit out of this tree? Pretty wet right now. I'm kind of cutting through wet paint and it's kind of having that gobbling effect. It's not really letting me put it down too strong yet, but that's okay. I can still kind of get it down. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of dabble in these darks a little bit while I have it on my brush. I'm gonna put some in here and there. It's just a It's just some dark shadows. Yeah, so and that's kind of a way to start a landscape in case that's what you were doing instead of something more sort of targeted like